Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 1211 for the 18th of June. When the 19th of June and all the latest frontline changes report is in here. Include all the frontline changes report after the frontline changes report that was reported 12 hours, no, maybe not 12 hours, 8 hours ago. It's all here. So you're not going to miss anything. So we're going to jump straight to the Sumi front as usual. Over the Sumi front, over at the Tekino sector, Ukrainian forces continue their attack on Tekino. This is Tekino. The Ukrainian forces continue their attack on Tekino, coming from, according to the Russian reports, coming from two sides, from Iskivkina as well as Rizivka region. The Russians are reportedly attacking Ukrainian forces at Rizivka as well as Besalivka. So this is the current situation. The Tekino sector continue to be seen as a weak spot on the Russian side by the Ukrainian forces. The Ukrainian continue to see Tekino as a very tasty objective that they could potentially take as a PR victory against the Russians, regardless how much Sumy they lose, because normal people in the outside world, as if we are in a bubble, but the normal people and the pro-Ukrainian people don't really follow the war like us, following the front line. They don't know what is actually happening in the Ukraine war. They didn't know that the Russians have captured a lot of the Sumy region. So that's the reason why the Ukrainians would actually still go for Tekino, regardless of the war situation over in the other front line, where they are continuously getting pushed back. But it does not matter to the Ukrainian forces, because the PR victory is more important to them. Because the main reason is because the Ukrainians already know that they cannot win the war militarily on their own. So the only way for them to win is to draw the Western allies or the Western partners into the war, and they have to keep this possibility, or it's a mix. Sometimes they make it like a possibility, but sometimes they make it like, oh, it's a threat. Russia is coming. If Ukraine fall, then you are next. However, at the same time, they also say that they are winning. So it's very confusing, the Ukrainians messaging, but it does not matter at all, because most people are goldfish. they don't really remember what the hell they just read, and they were just like, wow, yes, agree, and like, wow, Tekino, yes, they what big victory, then they totally forget about everything else. They do not remember anything. So that's the main difference between them and us. We are gigachats. So over at Lieve, there is an artillery system that was hit. This artillery system probably in this region here is supporting the fighting over in Tekino, which if you look at the distance, 10 kilometers, just nice. And up 10 to 12 kilometers, there's the basic artillery's range. So this is pretty much on spot. They are spot on. They didn't go any closer. So that's actually highly accurate in terms of the distance of where the artillery is. Over in the main Russian offensive, north of Sumy, which is over here, the Russian forces continue to launch an assault. This time round, the operation seems to have expanded laterally, with fighting reported at Stepney, also at Mauricia, and fighting and at the usual places. The usual suspect continues at Satki, Yunakievka, Varashkine, Novomykolaivka, Oleksievka, Andrievka, Kindrativka, and towards Novosibirsk is all reported. And so as you can see, this is basically almost the entire front line is basically activated, and there is some frontline changes over in this sector. So there's two main ones. One is over at Novomykolaivka, where the Russian Defense Ministry announced the capture of Novomykolaivka. This comes after the Russian claims that the Russian forces have captured this town in this manner. The other one is over nearby at Yunakievka. This is based on Ukrainian mapping. Ukrainian mapping have mapped that the entire northern half, all the way including the entire streets leading to Russia, is all under Russian control. This is based on Ukrainian mapping, and this is pretty significant because Yunakievka, the Ukrainians are trying their best to defend against the Russian forces. But yeah, the Russians still managed to capture half of it. The advance is around 1 kilometer deep. So, but this did no, on average, but this did not happen overnight. This battle has been ongoing for some time. So the Ukrainians finally just updated the map as is. There is a Ukrainian Max Pro getting hit by FPV drone just off the forest line. So this is probably to send troops or reinforcement, or send people back, or to rescue injured soldiers. So this Max Pro is pretty much used as a vehicle, as a transport, rather than an attack vehicle. So, but that's the main situation in this sector. So far, again, like I said, there is no indication so far as the Russians is going to push the forest. As you can see, there is this forest over here. It looks like the Russians are not going to push for it. We have fighting reported at Novosibirsk, but this could also be simply just shelling report, perhaps even directly referring to this Max Pro, which is a possibility. The Russians are trying to consolidate the position. Novomykolaiv looks like they have gotten it. Next, it will be Vereshchiny, and then they will straighten the front line. Yunaskivka will be next. Then they will probably go for Sadki. So that's the main gist of the situation in this sector. Over in the Belgorod incursion sector, there is nothing over there. We go on to the next front line, the Kharkiv front. This is Kharkiv. At the Kharkiv front, there is continued operations over in the Udi region. So let me just zoom out so we can see the whole front line, the whole border region. This is the Kharkiv front, and the Russian forces continue to attack at Udi. This is the Kozacha Lopan sector. There's also another report, this is also never seen before, of Komisarovo, Komisarovo. There is some attack being reported here, which is I accidentally changed this. Yeah, this location is never reported before. I'll zoom in a while to let you see how it looks like. Fighting is also still reported at Voschansk. How did I keep changing to this? Yeah, and also at Lipsy. So so this is the main gist. So Udi, this is Kozacha Lopan, this is Udi. So Russian forces continue to attack, or Ukrainian forces around the Udi region. So this is continuing. The Lipsy, nothing really much to talk about. This Huiyaipole, Lipsy is over here. The Russians are continuing to harass the Ukrainian forces. I don't think this is a major offensive. Over in the Voschansk sector, there is fighting reported. The usual skirmish in Voschansk. However, there is mention of Hatishev or Gadishev, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. So they probably attacking Ukrainian forces, that is probably trying to do something around here. As usual, the Ukrainians are constantly trying to find a way to hit back at the Russians. An attack into Hatishev would be attractive. So that's probably some attack, some fighting reported in this sector. And then, of course, the weird one in Komisarove. So this is the very tiny town over here. Previously, in the long time ago, the 24th of May, we have the report of Rublinoe being mentioned in the reports. So this is definitely one of the sector the Russians are trying to harass the Ukrainian forces. Because this is the corner, it's basically in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, it's a good place to harass the Ukrainian forces. We go on to the Voreshna front. This is Voreshna, and this is the Voreshna front. Over in the northern flank, Kanyamka is mentioned again in the reports. Fighting is being reported according to the Ukrainians. Over in Voreshna, previously we have the reports of fighting at Dovhenke. We have now the Russian Defense Ministry's. I'm not sure why I keep jumping here. Yeah, but yeah, when I press this, yeah, it jumps here, and so that's the short key. When did it happen? Okay, anyway, yeah, so fighting is reported to Dovhenke. The Russian Defense Ministry announced it today or yesterday. So that's the main gist. So which means the Russian forces have potentially have this front line looking like this. Voreshna is here, and now they could potentially attack. Oh, wrong color. This is irritating. They can attack, into Kokivka right now, into the rear position, or they can actually push further away. There's also a possibility. So I need to be careful of my control. When I press shift control at the same time, this happens. Yeah. Oh, it's not just shift control, it's a control. It just jump when I press control. How can this be? Give me a second. This is impossible. Okay, I decided to let me fix it later, because I can't fix it while I'm recording, and it will take a lot of time to troubleshoot. Yeah, but if I press this, yeah, this is ridiculous. Yeah, anyway, forget it. We move on. Further south, that Kindrashivka, there is a geolocation of Russian forces in the new position in Kindrashivka. So this geolocation confirms the Russian forces have expanded the zone of control. We have no updates regarding Kindrashivka in a long time. Oh, this is bad. That means I cannot even do undo. If no, shucks. Okay, I need to fix this. Wait. Aha, I solved it. Freaking hell. No, what the hell happened, man? Oh, so anyway, yeah. Russia's fault. It's the Russians. It's definitely the Russians. It's freaking always the Russians. So or it's the Zionists. It's always the Israelis, Yeah. Mossad disturbed our recording. So anyway, so I was saying this is Kindrashivka. I said. So this advance, so there's this advance down to the other street. I might bet a bit more conservatively. We shall see how this continues to play out. The Russian Defense Ministry already announced this capture since the 30th of May. We do not, this geolocation alone. Oh God. This so many technical errors. So you didn't see there was a prompt suddenly appearing. Oh, so you see it's broke. Okay, so yeah, so the Russian Defense Ministry announced the capture in the 30th of May. This geolocation alone cannot confirm that they have captured the whole of Kindrashivka. So yeah, probably the forces over here, the Russian forces over here is reporting things a bit too prematurely. Yeah, but the bonus is attractive. You cannot blame them. So that's all from the Voreshna front. We move on to the Kupiansk front. Kupiansk, and at the Kupiansk front, as usual, we have the fighting near Kupiansk. Fighting is still reported in the east as Stepova, Novoselivka. Pischani is mentioned. There's this push here, and shelling reported at Kisharivka. So, but that's all. Though I don't think there's anything to really worry about here. Not some major offensive. And we go on to the Borova front. Borova here, fighting is reported over in Zarizove and Bohuslavka. There's fighting reported at Novosahievka, but that's about it in the Borova front. So there is still this major skirmish coming in the north, but otherwise I don't expect, I don't really think much about this sector. We go on to the Oskil front. This is Oskil. At the Oskil front, we have fighting reported over in Kharkivka, Okievka, Novy Maya, Lipove, as well as Karpivka. So this is still pretty standard. There is no updates regarding the fighting around here. It's basically pushing in all directions. So let's see how this continues to develop. Over in the Liman front, we have fighting reported at Zelena Dolena towards Shandrikholove, Zarishne, as well as Torske. Over in the north of Torske of Zarishne, the Ukrainian forces has been geolocated along the tree line in this northern sector. So they have basically continued their counter-offensive and managed to capture the tree line around here. So basically taking new positions. So yeah, the Ukrainians are still trying. They're still definitely trying. But yeah, it's really, really depressing when you look at the distance they need to liberate. Oh, that's so painful. how many soldiers think that they're gonna survive the war? No, or survive winning all the way. I mean, the Russian view is just as bad. Like this is the amount of Ukraine you still need to go through. It's just as bad. So anyway, soldiers are set life. So we go on to the Siversk front. Siversk. And at the Siversk front, in the northern flank, we have the continuation of the fighting at Huiyaipole and Srebrenica and Siversk. The Verkhovno is not mentioned in a while, since 614. So coming to a week now, so a bit unusual. Over in the south, we have fighting reported at Vimka. We haven't seen Vimka in a while, since when is it? 8. Since the 8th of June, fighting is reported at Zvanivka, Fedorivka, Pazino, and in the northern part of Bakhmut front, Bodarny was also mentioned. So this is a bit unusual. Now we have a lot of reports across this entire line. Is this a major offensive? Not entirely sure. Is this a major offensive? We shall see whether we'll wait and see how this goes. But definitely, this is a little bit unusual to have everything all light up at the same time. Over the Bakhmut front, this is Bakhmut. Over the northern flank, I already mentioned Bodarny, so I'm not going to rehash that. Fighting is reported at Minkivka, Orikovo, Vasilivka, and Novomarkove. And similarly, this looks pretty coordinated, all at the same time. It's like a big arrow over here. So something to look out for. Over in the south, there is fighting reported as Tuposhki and Priteshny. And it's not surprising because yesterday we have already reported these frontline changes. It touches both Tuposhki and Priteshny. So the Russians are definitely expanding the zone of control in this sector. We'll move on to the next front line, the New York front. This is New York. Very far away from the front line actually. We go to the Toretsk sector. This is Toretsk, and at the Toretsk sector, we have fighting reported at Belhora, Kudyumivka, Dilievka, Ivanopile, Klobambik, Toretsk, Novospassky, also previously known as Petrivka. So there is multiple geolocation of Ukrainian forces, north of Novospassky, and also north of Ivanopilia. So otherwise, this looks really active as well. Like I mentioned in yesterday's SITREP, the Russians seems to have activated quite a number of frontline. The offensive seems to return again. So this looks pretty activated to me. Like the entire front line is activated. Everything lights up. So something to really keep a lookout for. This is very active. In the western flank, we have fighting reported over at Zoria, mainly because of the Ukrainian mapping that updated that the Russians have gained some grounds in the northwest of Zoria. Geolocation of Russian forces show the Russian forces have went deeper into Alexandro Kalinove, and then I remember Kalinove, but I can't remember the full name. And then fighting is reported Yablunevka, Potavka, and Popivia. So that's the main gist of the situation in this sector. I can zoom in a bit on this area here. So the geolocation confirmed the Russians have went a bit deeper into Alexandro Kalinove. So that happened. And the Ukrainian mapping over here have mapped that the Russians have gained more grounds, a few more tree lines, which the Ukrainians probably have abandoned the position. The advance is 780 meters, so it's around 800 meters. Not very big of an advance. Looks like the Ukrainians may be harassing the Russian forces with drones and whatnot. Maybe it slows them down. I don't expect the Ukrainians to be defending much here. They probably have some forward troops trying to slow down the Russians. I don't think they will hold a defense line here. I mean, they could, but I don't expect them to because of the danger of a pincer in their rear positions. So this is why I don't think so. And during the frontline changes report, I also mentioned that there is only 2 crossings here. This one here, and there's another over here across the Baichok River. So the main problem here right now this is these 2 rivers. Between the rivers is maybe they can cross, maybe they can't. They need to swim across the river, and the Russians are coming on both sides. So and for both cases they are very near to the bridge. They are both very near to the bridge. So this is this is like very, very worrisome. Yeah, they're all like wondering how. So we move on to the Pokrov front. This is Pokrov, and over in the Minokhrad sector. So before we go over there, there is mention of Novotoretsk. This is the first time Novotoretsk is mentioned, and this has good reasons behind it, because if you look at the Russian reporting, they have announced the capture of Shevchenko, Perche, and Kotiv, and Kotiv is only recently. So this only makes sense that after these 2, they will be going straight for Novotoretsk. So this which is why this the fighting report. This is written. This marked as a fighting in our mapping, because the potential front line actually may look like this. So this is the main reason why this is becoming a main concern for the Ukrainians, and definitely a big problem for our mapping, because we do not have the intel to back this up for now. But if this is the case, then the Russians are definitely continuing to say what they're gonna do, say what I said they're gonna do, which is to flank north and cut off the highway north of Pokrov. So this is ongoing, and looks like it's moving pretty successfully over in the Minokhrad sector. So let me see. Let me see, how do I move this? Okay. Minokhrad. Fighting is reported over at Melanivka, Myrny, Marolubivka, Hrodivka, Promin, as well as towards Minokhrad. So these operations continue. The main one is, of course, to try to capture Mykolaiivka and Novoekonomichny, with this push and this pincer happening, and this problematic impossible salient developing. This area here is straight. This nothing much going to happen around here due to the existence of Minokhrad for now. This is too strong for the Russians to push through. But that's all for this sector. Over the Pokrov sector, this sector here, the fighting is reported towards Pokrov. The entire line here went pretty quiet. The fighting is reported at Udashny towards Novopihorodny, Novosahievka, and Novo-Mykolaiivka. And Novo-Mykolaiivka, there is major news. The Russian Defense Ministry has announced the capture of Novo-Mykolaiivka. So this potentially may be under Russian control. And this is north of Krytlarivka, where reports of fighting is also noted. So Novo-Mykolaiivka is this town just off the Solona River, and also the border between Donetsk and Dnipropetrovsk. So this is not this is a major development. Of course, north of this position is like there's nothing much here. So the Russians have basically confirmed to have reached the border, and they're going to continue to try to close up and take everything here. Yeah, what a long way from where we were long time ago. Like where is even Adiyevka? Adiyevka is here, and where is Marinka? Marinka is here. Yeah, we have really came a long way. So the war has gone on, and suddenly saw a face. Do you see the face? And there's the lips here, yeah. So yeah. So whose girlfriend is this? She have no chin and have some mustache. So anyway, this face here, fighting is reported at Krytlarivka, Horikove, and there is a geolocation of Russian forces south of Horikove, confirming the Russians' developments in the south of the town. So some Russian advance in this sector. Horikove is already claimed to be captured by the Russian forces. The Russian Defense Ministry claimed to have captured it. So yeah, so we're not sure how this goes. Maybe it's the front line looks like this. So now they're trying to expand in this way. So that's not like impossible. So no, that's it from this sector. We move on to the Coma front. This is Coma, and over in the eastern flank, there's nothing reported over Andreevka. Interestingly, no, I thought the Ukrainians will always forever say that. They also didn't mention Constantinople. So I wonder if this is a quiet admission that they have lost this entire sector. So the fighting is mainly reported at Oleksievka, Odradne, and towards Zaporizhia. So this is the main three places that was mentioned. The Odradne is mainly because the Ukrainian mapping have considered that the Russians have expanded the areas around here northwest of Odradne, which means that this impossible salient is getting shorter. Like, it's now looking like this. So it's getting thinner and thinner. So this is yeah, not good. There's a geolocation of a FPV drone strike on a Ukrainian armored vehicle northwest of Dashne. There's another one over, there's an artillery system north of Zerka that was also hit by the Russian forces. This is a bit near to the front line. This is only 4-5 kilometers. So it's getting a bit close, too close to the front line. And over in the Coma sector, we have fighting reported at Merne, probably coming from Coma. Vasile, with the Russians trying to straighten the front line here. Fighting is reported at Shevchenko and Huiyaipole. So that is the main fighting reported in this sector of the front line. And moving further south, over in the southern flank, we have fighting reported at Novosilka and towards Temerivka. The Huiyaipole is already mentioned. So mainly that's about it. Of course, we still have this dirty front line. We shall wait and see when this will clear up. And happy birthday to you if your birthday today. And if you watch to this point, I think it's only right that you just press the subscribe button. It's free. Free. It's really free. You don't have to pay to press the subscribe button. Good deal, right? And also press the like button. It's also free. Can you imagine that? So much free stuff in this world. Yeah, press the like button and subscribe. And we move on to the Zaporizhia front. So this is Zaporizhia. And this is the Zaporizhia front. At the Huiyaipole sector, this front line is getting really serious. There is Potovka mentioned again. So the last mention was on the 15th. Now it's mentioned again. And Melanivka is continuously being mentioned. So is Huiyaipole. So this front line is getting a bit serious with Russian forces seemingly launching a major offensive in this sector. The scale of it is rather unclear right now. We know the Battle of Melanivka have started of quite some days ago, but no news since. So the operational discipline over this sector is pretty strong. We do not know what the hell is happening, so we have to wait for more intel. Over in the Kanyamsky and Orikhiv sector, so this Orikhiv, this is Kanyamsky. Fighting is reported at Tomachka, Novoandrievka, Shebaki, as well as Kanyamsky. So this front line is continuing to do their job to divert Ukrainian resources away from the Donetsk front. And and definitely still concerning for the Ukrainian forces because they can't lose Mala Tomachka. Like, it's too strategically important. They can't lose Novoandrievka because that will expose the flank of Orikhiv. Yeah, and so there's no good places for the Ukrainians to just not pay as much attention. The Russians are making it really difficult for the Ukrainians. And we move on to the last front line, the Kherson front. And this is Kherson, or Kherson. I like to call them Kherson because that's literally pronounced as Kherson in English. Shelling is reported over at the Odrado-Kamyamka, Antonivka, as well as below Zerka. So these are the three locations being mentioned to be shelled by the Russian forces. The Ukrainians, however, did not mention about the fighting near the Antonovsky Bridge. Over here, there's no mention of the fighting here. Might be the Russians gave up because maybe too difficult. So not impossible. So that's about it. So this is the summary for the day of 1211 for the 18th of June. So thank you for watching. Do press the like button, subscribe, This video will not be double posted today, only on the DPA War channel. So check out this video where I commented a little bit. I give some opinions about this hidden tunnels, in Gaza. A bit of interesting things. Maybe you might be interested. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next update. Slava Ukraini!